Hey guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be going over my blush collection. It has definitely grown since the last video, and I didn't realize it's been over a year or about a year since my last collection video. I think I was confusing myself with all the other blush videos that I had done, and I was under the impression that it was only 6 months at most that I had done a collection, so I'm definitely due for one. So if you're interested in what these beauties are here, I hope you decide to stay tuned. We're gonna get straight into it. Starting off with the cream and liquid products, we have Fenty Beauty's Cheeks Out in Daiquiri Drip. This is number 6. It's sort of like a reddish burnt orange color. On the cheeks, it doesn't come off as strong, and I think against my skin tone, this definitely is complimentary. So that's the first one. Next up, we have Tower 28's Beach Please in Golden Hour. This is absolutely stunning. I do prefer this more than the Fenty Beauty one in terms of color, but I think they both serve their own purpose, so that's the second one. The next one is a mousse product from Shiseido. This is their, what is it called, Minimalist Whipped Powder Blush in the shade Momoko, and I do call it a mousse formulation because that's basically what it is. It looks whipped and then it dries down to a powder finish, but as you can see, it's a great like neutral burnt orange color. I personally love it. I mean, you can see the dent that I have in this product, and it isn't as intimidating as it seems in the little pot here. This next one here with the dirtiest fingerprints on there, this is from Patrick Ta. This is their duo, and I have it in She's So LA. But here we have the product, sort of a reddened brown, and this is really great for like fall looks, or if you want to do a monochromatic 90s look. I absolutely love using this, and I think Patrick Ta's onto something where if you wanted to change up your application process, you can start off with the powder and then dab on some of the cream. And to round up these non-powder blush products, we have Rare Beauty's liquid blush, and this is in the shade Joy. These suckers are very pigmented. I don't think I will ever finish this in my lifetime, but I do love the color that it gives and the ease of application. Now we just have all powder products. Starting off on the bottom here, I've gotten a lot of questions about this blush. This is the Bobbi Brown powder blush in Clementine. It is as stunning as it looks. I have gotten compliments actually from using this blush. It's a great fiery sort of peachy pink color combination, and you know what, I think the more I try Bobbi Brown products, the more I realize a lot of us are sleeping on the brand. Next up, we have Laura Mercier. This is in Fresco. This is one of her more popular blushes. It is a neutral shade. It does have a bit of sparkle and glimmer in it, but nothing too apparent or bothersome on the cheeks. This is the type of shade that I tend to go for on the regular nowadays, so having it in my collection is a must. This is a Persona blush. I believe these are called super blushes. Yes, and this is in the shade Terracotta. This stuff is pigmented, okay? I would say that it is the most similar to the Patrick Ta duo that I showed you, the powder formulation, sort of that deeper red and brown. Next up, we have Lorac. There's a bit of a backstory with this one. I almost decluttered it in my last video, but I just couldn't give it up. I don't have a color quite like this. It's like mauvey and brown at the same time. Blush is the one category that I allow myself to have a lot of, and I just wish I would have made that decision so much earlier on, because I've gotten rid of some blushes trying to be somewhat minimalistic in a way, and I do regret it. So thank God I held on to this one. Here we have a Bare Minerals blush. This one is in Bellini Brunch, and this is from the Gen Nude collection. I mean, pretty straight up, this kind of looks like Max Peaches. I can never have enough of this shade. If I'm not looking at a neutral color, I'm definitely looking at something more peachy. So I do really enjoy this. I did have one of the Bounce and Blurs. I forget what it was called, but I did prefer this matte formulation to that more cream to powder. So Bellini Brunch. Next Next up, we have Cover FX. This is their monochromatic blush duo in Soft Peach. I know that some people say that they don't like this formulation, but applying them together, like starting off with this and then doing this as a blush topper, I think it's really pretty. Natasha Denona. Here we have a blush duo. This is in the palette number 7. I don't believe it has a name. Oh yes, it does. Neutral Beige and Tutu, I believe it's called. Hear me out, guys. I've explained this before, but if you haven't seen the video where I did explain myself, just know that I don't use either of these shades alone. This does nothing for my complexion, and this is way too dark for me to use as a blush. But when I combine them together, it works very well. It's a really good neutral color. Okay, let's get some. I'm using this to like rest my hand on, so I'm going to save this stack for a little bit later. Let's do some face products here. I'm gonna see if I can remember the name of this thing. This is the Hourglass Universe Unlocked Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Universe Unlocked Face Palette. I'm gonna say that was a win. So this is what it looks like. They had 2 options available and I ended up getting the darker one only because it has this face powder, and there was something in the other pans that I wasn't feeling too well, and I'm so happy that I got this. This is such an effective palette, and it's just so like compact, you know. If I wanted to just take one thing, I could potentially just take this palette. Now my Charlotte Tilbury. This one is the Nudegasm face palette, and it came out alongside the Hourglass one. Oh, I did do a comparison video between the two, so if you're interested, you can look back. And if I do remember, I will link it down below. But I did say, spoiler alert, that I do prefer this one. I just feel like it looks a lot better as a whole on my complexion. This palette here, this probably has to be one of the better finds of 2021. Some of you guys are probably looking at my MAC blushes and being like, when are you gonna get to that? It's coming, guys. I just gotta get rid of all these other ones. All right, Tom Ford. We have 4 blushes here, starting off with Inhibition. This is more on the neutral side with a hint of pink. Then we have Love Lust, a shimmery peachy color. Here we have Savage. This unfortunately is discontinued and it breaks my heart. This is the perfect winter or fall shade for deeper complexions. Tom Ford, what are you doing? And lastly, we have Ravish. And this shade is a bit more on the red side. All right, here we have some Clinique cheek pops. This first one here is in Ginger Pop, probably the one that I use the most often. It's one of the shades that doesn't require much effort on my part to show up, and I just think it's beautiful. This next one here is in Fig Pop. So if you're interested in something that's a bit more rosy, has a bit more of a purple hue to it, this is a really pretty one. I know Becca's no longer available, but it is part of my collection, so I'm going to show it to you. This first one here is in Songbird, and this is their mineral blush formula. I think this was one of her more popular ones. It has a golden shift to it, and it's kind of like a bronzy, slightly red in color. And then this one, my favorite out of the 2, is Wild Honey. I mean, come on, isn't this like a neutral lover's dream? This one here is from Chanel. This is a newer blush. This is in the shade Jersey. Oh yes, you are finally mine. I thought I would never get my hands on this after I couldn't find it on Nordstrom or Macy's, but thankfully they decided to go to Ulta and Jersey was available. But neutral and beautiful. All right, so we're gonna get to the chunkiest parts of this video. Let's do Nars first. This is the only blush that I have currently still in the packaging. I've depotted everything else. It's been a while since I've actually purchased a Nars blush, but this one here is in the shade Illicit. I knew it started with an I. This here is a matte shade, and the best description I can give it is like a neutral brown, but it has a little bit of like a yellow undertone to it. So I actually need to put this in the front and pop this out very soon. All right, let's get this big thing out of the way. So let's get to it. This first one here is Gina. Then we have Gilda, Torrid, Liberté, Amore, Deep Throat, Douceur, and I used to have Madly, but I broke it. If I ever wanted to, I could just depot Illicit and pop it in that final slot. All right, let's get to M Cosmetics. This first one here is in Faded Clementine. These blushes are my current like obsessions. I want to use them every single day, but I can't because there's no favoritism in the house of Annabelle's blush collection. This next one here is Venetian Rose. And lastly, my like obsession. Like I have this as blush obsession, but like as a particular product, like one single item. This is my obsession. This one here is in Rococo. Guys, I cannot tell you how obsessed I get when I put this on. Mama Pat, here we have her blushes. If you guys don't know, I've said it before, don't press on the bottom of the blush. You gotta press the top part of the button and it just opens, okay? Don't fight with the packaging anymore. This first one here is in Nymphette, and this is a pink shade. Here we have Paradise Venus, which is the darkest, yes, the darkest one out of the 4 that I own. You know, it's got that cinnamon vibe, if you will. Here we have Desert Orchid. The name sounds like this is going to be a purple blush, but no, it is like an yellow, orange, brown perfection. And then that means this one is Nude Venus. Ooh, peachy pink and lovely. Can I just pause and say that I looked back trying to find the last collection video that I did, and at that time I had so many more MAC blushes. I'm so sad that I don't have them. I had such a beautiful collection, and I know I had decluttered some even before then. Oh, Annabelle. All right, so the first blush here we have is Cantaloupe, and just be aware that some of these are discontinued, but I have them in my collection, and that's what this video is. Desert Rose. Oh, look at that purple, yummy, yummy. Here we have Pinch O Peach. Here we have the ever famous Peaches. This one in Blush Baby. This one, again, cult classic. We have Melba. This one here in Pinch Me. This one here is in Mocha. Here we have Fleur Power, one of my favorites. Here we have Gingerly. Do you see that dent, or do you see that dent? Here we have Copper Tone. This one in Sincere. This one in Eternal Sun, and it pains me that this is discontinued. In the original packaging, here we have Warm Soul. Look at that mineralized goodness. And lastly, the only Glow Play blush I have for now, we have So Natural. You know what? I'm going to count my blushes. I don't even know how many I own. I'm going to count the palettes as just like one, okay? I'm not going to do the whole one by one thing. So let's go. Golly. All right, so we have 52 palettes, and that concludes today's video. Thank you for joining me as we rummage through my blush collection. I love my blushes. I love blushes in general. I would grow this to infinity and beyond if I could, but for right now, 52. Gosh, I already forgot. I think it was 52. That's a pretty good number for me. So thank you so much for joining me. And till the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.